Hello, hello. Good afternoon, my fellow East Coast Americans. You're not in the East Coast afternoon yet, but hope you're enjoying your day so far regardless. Welcome to the Super Metroid Multiworld Tournament match between the Lost Vikings, Kip and Rumblemans, versus Rando Calrissian themselves, the Wild Stallions, Kev Mastix, and Papa Schmo. Going to be having a 2v2 full rando race. I've seen a lot of full rando in this tournament. Not as much major minor, despite I believe it's supposed to be a 50-50 between the two. And Kip didn't start his timer again. I believe he is. This is not the first time he has forgotten to start his timer. Oh well. I am, of course, TG Derp. You can read that at the bottom. A little bit sick, you might tell by my voice, but hopefully it's not too bad to listen to. I'll be fine. Don't worry about that. Also sick is, of course, our runners today, as I already mentioned. They're quite good. We have reached the second half of the tournament. I believe we have 7 teams left in. So this is, of course, a loser's bracket match, so the loser will be eliminated, and the winner will go on to play, I believe, the winner of my team, Slow versus Zevdi, which has not been scheduled yet, but we'll see when we get that done. Smile. We do see a morph in the ceiling for player 1. Player 2 had their morph at the vanilla location. So player 1 also got those bombs, I believe, at morph. This is full rando, as I mentioned, so not necessarily guaranteed that the morph pedestal is a major item. But morph ball does have to be early on in the seed, so it's worth mentioning. As Papa Schmo going to be checking that Billy Mays location. We've seen this a few times from Rumble. Player 2 has power bombs here, so they have the opportunity to do this early Billy Mays check. We see Rumble generally skip this check in full rando, as we've seen him have power bombs early in a few of these races. Not necessarily a bad play, but it does mean you don't get either of these checks. In this case, there's already nothing super useful. A reserve tank for player 2, and I believe a super missile for player 1. Player 1 already having access to the super missiles behind the morph, behind player 2's morph, which we saw from Rumblewins. So he's going to be rewarded for skipping that Billy Mays check, for whatever that means. Also worth noting is that Papa Schmo, unless he gets a powerbomb drop or another powerbomb pack somewhere, will not be able to check 230 and behind morph. We'll opt for the behind morph check. So if 230 is something good and Papa Schmo doesn't immediately go back for it, say he refills at the ship or gets a powerbomb drop from Bomb Torizo if he finds bombs somewhere, we'll potentially skip this item. It is just a missile though, so if he does skip it, it won't be the biggest deal in the world. Of course, player 1 is going to have to fight this Bomb Torizo, since they entered the fight, or enter the room with bombs. So we're going to see a pretty quick fight. 2 missiles and a super missile will defeat Bomb Torizo without him doing either of his animations where a part of it breaks off, as you saw from Kip there. Does have 2 E-tanks and bombs. This would be a not impossible gauntlet check. I don't think Kip will do it. We've generally seen Team Lost Vikings skip that early gauntlet, but actually, Kip running over to the ship means that it seems he is interested in that gauntlet check. remember that this is Multiworld. It can be a suit here at Gauntlet. Normally in a Varia, Major Minor, Varia Full, there cannot be a suit in criteria, but in this mode, it can. So it's very possible that there is a suit at Gauntlet somewhere. It looks like Rumble, also going to Gauntlet, has 10 power bombs. Does not have an E-Tank, though, so the acid does, I believe, 1 damage per frame. Can't spend a whole lot of time in there. Papa Schmo also likely going to be checking Gauntlet. First going to do this 230 check that he had to skip earlier because it didn't have enough power bombs at the moment. See if Papa Schmo decides to do Gauntlet after that or just decides to continue on with the game. Either one is a perfectly viable check. Very possibly checks the back of Gauntlets. And that's going to be really helpful for Rumble, getting that screw attack for Kip, or from Kip. It's going to allow him to have a much easier time through the second half of Gauntlet. And it looks like Papa Schmo is going back as well, so we're going to have 4 Gauntlet checks. Papa Schmo, with how, I don't want to say behind, but having to do the backtrack for the 230 check and doing the Billy Mays check, he's actually going to get screw attack basically when he enters Gauntlet, so he'll be able to go through it a little bit faster than Rumble did. So that's worth noting. Unfortunately, Player 2's Gauntlet does not seem to have anything good, unless either of these items are good. There's a Wave Beam, that's pretty good actually. But nothing required, just an X-Ray and a Wave for his partner, for Player 1. So Kip's going to be happy to see that. But nothing super good. The big prize is really just Player 2 screw attack at Player 1's Gauntlet. Actually, Kev having a little bit of trouble here with this this yapping maw. Means it will, Papa Schmo will have made it through most of Gauntlet before getting that screw attack. Unfortunately, power bombs do not kill the yapping maw. But did break the block, and now that he has screw attack, he can just, Papa Schmo can just fly through the rest of this room. So, Team LostVikings have both made it to Green Brinstar. Papa Schmo had to do a little bit of backtracking, plus did that Billy Mays check that Rumble skipped, and Kev, unfortunately, his execution is being compared against Kip, who is, at least in terms of any percent time, the fastest runner in the tournament. You saw he had basically no trouble getting through that gauntlet, while Kev had to do a little bit of hesitation with only having those vanilla bombs makes the gauntlet a little bit scary. And you see Kev actually took quite a bit of damage, but fortunately was able to survive with those 2 E-Tanks. So that does put LostVikings in a little bit of an early advantage. There's a Plasma Beam for Player 2 at Player 1's Edakun Super Missiles. Kip going to be giving that to Rumble, so we will see Kev and Papa Schmo pick that up shortly. Although, actually, Kev does not have any power bombs. Not sure where Kip got his. I assume they were somewhere early in Brinstar, because I don't think Kip had them going down the elevator. We'll get to see that shortly again for Kev and Papa Schmo as they enter the early supers area. Nice little crumble bridge that you can just do a mock ball under. There's Player 1's power bombs at the Brinstar Reserve Missile, not to be confused with the Ron Papale missile, which is right behind it, which was, I believe, just a missile. So, they are off. There's another nice item. At Mission Impossible, kept getting those high jump boots. We'll have to see where the runners decide to go after leaving Brinstar, whether they decide to go up or down. That space jump is going to be really nice for Kip, giving him a good way to get across the moat. He did already have bombs, and he is a very solid new route runner, so he's able to do that CWJ. But with that space jump, doesn't need to bother with any of it, is able to just space jump across the moat. Rumble's still looking for a good way across the moat. I don't think he's as comfortable with CWJ. So we'll see what they do. Very possible that for both runners, player 1 goes up and player 2 goes down. Player 1 does have a lot of E-tanks, though, if they want to do some early Norfair, excuse me, expeditions, we'll call it. Keep it family friendly. Basically, what I'm trying to say is the runners do have options. It's kind of rough for player 2. No good way to cross the moat, and not a lot of health to really do early Norfair trips, early hell runs. There's player 2's wave beam that player 1 just found. So all 4 runners will have wave beam coming out of Brinstar, most likely. So yeah, player 2 not in the most comfortable position. Does have a really good weapon loadout with that screw attack and plasma beam. Not really threatened by any kind of enemy the game can throw at them right now. But without a suit or some kind of movement item, their exploration is a little bit limited. Do have 45 super missiles as well. Actually, I believe Rumble has 50. So a normal full rando experience, you have to check every item. There's a lot of minor items, so you'll end up with full ammo very quickly. Charge beam, generally a luxury item more than a requirement in these seeds. Looks like Kip is going... He did go down to that X-ray check, which we see him doing now. Not a big surprise with space jump. I imagine we'll see him go up Red Tower after that, but what he decides to do is entirely up to him, of course. Depends on what's here. Unfortunately, not exactly a great item, just a reserve tank at that X-ray location. You do see Rumble going up as well, so planning on doing the CWJ across the moat. It's going to have to be careful not to screw attack any of these little platforms to climb up Red Tower. You see he does a good job. But all the little ledges are bomb blocks, so your screw attack will destroy them. So if you're still in spin, you can really give yourself a lot of trouble with Red Tower. We'll see what Rumble finds. That speed booster, if that's his, fortunately it's actually Kip's, so that would have given him a very good way to get across the moat, but unfortunately it is for his partner. That's 60 super missiles already. 12 minutes, 13 minutes I guess, into the seed. Rumble already nearly has Mother Brain ammo. I believe that's 30 missiles too. Only needs a couple more missiles. Wait, actually, is that 65 for Rumble? Is that just straight up enough? It's not quite, I don't think. I think you need a little bit more. One more super pack or missile pack. That's Kev doing this, I believe it's when I heard it be called reverse meme route. Going to be checking the items he wasn't able to check early without the early power bombs. So going up to Billy Mays and that behind Morph, which I didn't see what it got him. I think it got him an E-tank. So this, we'll see if this is anything good. As Kip is just going straight to the ship, it looks like. There's another super missile. And another one. Not exactly what Kev was hoping for, but not a bad check, obviously. Getting it out of the way. It's going to get that speed booster, which is a little bit nice. And now we will see Rumble attempt this CWJ. I would not be surprised if he turns Screw Attack off just to get a better visual. Oh, he actually has bombs, so we can do a HBJ. I didn't see when he got those. Unfortunately, it's another very tricky way to get across the moat. You have to place the bombs very, very particularly. It's a little bit more consistent if you're able to get good at it than the CWJ, which is just a couple close to frame perfect inputs. One of them is frame perfect, the other one is either a 1 frame or a 2 frame window, depending on how you set it up. The HBJ has a little bit more leeway, but still a little bit tricky to get down. Fortunately, we saw Rumble get it fairly quickly, actually. I believe that was second try on the HBJ. And Kev, with the speed booster, actually doing this this check here, the climb supers. Gets that D-boost across, and we'll see if he is rewarded. Fortunately, that's another super missile. Fortunately, this actually puts Kev in a pretty good position, as he can take this. He can actually go up to the Criteria Power Bomb, and then go across to the right and end up at the wreck ship. So he'll be about where Kip is now. Kip, by the way, I didn't see when. He has Varia. And so does Papa Schmo. Look at that. He went down and found his own Varia at Spazer. So he's going to be able to do a lot of these early Norfair checks. Still needs some better movement items in order to comfortably get to lower Norfair. But if he finds any of those movement items, then he has the Plasma Beam and the Screw Attack and plenty of ammo for Ridley. So he might be able to full clear the area. That's actually really good for WyldStallyns. Alright, so I'm being told player 1's Varia was at player 1's Alpha Power Bombs. So Kev likely won't get that until after Wreck Ship, but will get it on the way down. You'd have to imagine he won't forget about those. Meanwhile, finds another E-Tank, and it is his, so... Unfortunately, all these checks that we didn't see Kip do have not really paid off for Kev. Just a bunch of super missiles and E-Tanks, which are nice to have, but aren't really going to make a difference. Not gonna cost Kip if he skips those, and we will see what Kip decides to do. We are still looking for gravity suits as well as Meridia access. I guess player 1 has Meridia access if they find the gravity suit. And if they find Ice Beam and Grapple, they can actually make it most of the way through. Meridia, not in Logic, of course. You are required to get gravity suit in Logic in order to fight Dragon, or more accurately, to get out of Dragon. But I believe Kip is capable of getting out. He's a very good RBO runner as well, so... If he gets that Ice Beam, he does have a very similar to RBO loadout, and should be able to... Well, Ice Beam and Grapple Beam. Might be getting a little bit ahead of myself, though. Kip is on his way to check this wreck ship E-Tank. I don't believe he's saved, so we will have to... We'll have to trek his way back. Does get Rumble and E-Tank, who just survived his Fantoon fight. Yeah, depending on where player 2's movement items are, this could be very good for WyldStallyns that Papa Schmo went down first. Although you do have to imagine that Rumble will get his various suit before he does anything else. It is right on the way down to It's at Spazer Beam. So even if he gets Gravity Suit and is on his way to Meridia, he should check that item and he'll get his Varia and likely make the correct decision to go straight into Norfair. The good news is, depending on where player 2's items are, Papa Schmo might not need to clear out Rex ship, so very possible he has that advantage over Rumble if he finds good items here in Norfair. I should mention that I believe this is the first time we've actually seen this the Varia sprite from Kip, who has almost always found Gravity before Varia. He is using this custom Samus sprite based on the colors of the Ocarina of Time tunics? I don't know. Also, not Ocarina of Time, it's Link to the Past. I actually got everything wrong there. But don't worry about that. Kip actually scouted that X-ray earlier, made the conscious decision to go get it. Don't entirely blame him, but maybe not the most required item. Just worth noting, Rumble actually going to bail on the top of Rex ship, and I believe on the Rex ship E-Tank. I don't think he checked that either. It's just going to go straight down. So this is another play we've seen from LostVikings and Rumble specifically. We'll go do this early ship and skip the top half. Which ends up paying off for him, or will likely end up paying off for him, since we know where Varia Suit is, and he will go straight there, basically. Also got that Spring Ball from Kip, which Papa Schmo will likely get eventually, depending on if Kev decides to full clear ship or not. With the speed booster, I would recommend it. Yeah, Kip. Well, Rumble, excuse me, getting that Varia Suit. Makes his next play pretty obvious. I imagine he'll do Kraid's Lair before he goes down into Norfair, like we saw Papa Schmo do. Doesn't look like there's anything super interesting at the top of Player 1's Rex ship. Player 1's X-Ray and Player 2's Spring Ball. Unless the Gravity Suit is anything interesting. Nope, just a missile. And so we will see where Kip decides to go. He could do he could go around Brinstar again and check all the items he hasn't checked. All the retro Brinstar, could get Criteria Powerbomb on the way. Could check Waterway, which we actually didn't see Kev Nastic check. But it looks like Kip is just gonna go straight down to Norfair, most likely. Not even gonna bother with those checks. At least not yet. I will say, even though it hasn't really paid off, I do like how Kev routed this seed, getting all those early checks, and then he'll go down Red Tower, check Alpha Beta Powerbombs on the way, check X-Ray on the way. Like we did see Kip, for example, we saw him actually go down a bit to check X-Ray and then go back up. So Kev won't have that little routing, what would you say? He won't have to do that backtrack, even though it was only a few seconds. I actually really like how Kev routed this. Kip, on the other hand, just kind of skipped all the items that he wasn't able to check earlier. And obviously it paid off, and I can't say it's the wrong play, even if it didn't pay off, to not check some of these items, since there's a lot of spread out checks that are pretty slow. Just that I do like how Kev played this early game, even though it really only rewarded him with a couple E-tanks over Kip. So Papa Schmo has done, I believe, the speed and wave check. Hasn't found anything interesting yet. Does have the wreck ship, not wreck ship, Norfair Reserve, and Crocomire accessible to him. Unfortunately, no charge beam means he won't be able to one-shot Crocomire, but he's got a lot of super missiles. Both bottom runners, both player 2s have 75 max, it looks like. So they will have plenty of those to deal with pretty much any boss, actually literally any boss in the game. And there's player 2's charge beam at player 1's Varia. So Kev will get to that eventually, but likely not before Papa Schmo does Crocomire, assuming that's what he plans to do. Unfortunately, this wall jump here, I don't know if it's possible without high jump. He is going for the spring ball jump, though. He didn't turn on spring ball in the menu, though. That was odd. I think Papa Schmo doesn't like where that waver is. The waver kind of buzzing around, being a nuisance. Also, don't know if Papa Schmo checked this item we see Rumble checking right now. I didn't see what the item was. I think Rumble did. Just a super missile. Kind of surprised he went back for that, but he did need to climb up the room anyways. And there's player 1's charge beam and player 2's reserve missile. Or, well, the missile before reserve missile. One of those items we don't really have a great name for. Neither charge beam is a really big deal at this point, but it's nice to have, especially for player 2 who has Plasma X-Ray. Papa Schmo, we don't get to see what these checks are because he is lagging a little bit. That's a little unfortunate. There's 2 checks right here, and we're not going to see either of them. Oh my goodness, we didn't even get to see if he has anything interesting. Well, it's not Ice Beam, and it's not Gravity, whatever those 2 items were. So we see Kev doing the checks we expected him to do. Just going down Red Tower, picking up all the items on the way. We'll get that Varia suit soon enough. I didn't see how Kip routed this early Norfair. I think he went to Ice and then around, like, down the Crumble Shaft and then up through Croc Escape. It's an interesting way to check those 2 items. I don't hate it. I don't know if I like it, though. So we see all 4 players. Well, Kev's not quite there yet. 3 players in Norfair, and Kev on the way. Going to be checking X-Ray first. Had the option to go over to Waterway, but deciding not to. Unfortunately, this X-ray check will not really pay off, as we did see Kip do it earlier, and it wasn't anything interesting. I think it was a reserve tank, actually. So, really nothing interesting. Is Papa Schmo too far left for this bomb jump? I think he is. No, that should work. Right?
Okay, there we go. We see Kip going into his Norfair Reserve. We have not seen this yet. We've only seen it from player 2. Finds player 2's space jump, actually. Meanwhile, at Croc, Papa Schmo finding his own high jump, so that gives him a logical way into lower Norfair. Also having that space jump at player 1's Norfair Reserve, so once Kev gets there for Papa Schmo, he'll have a pretty convenient, pretty easy way through lower Norfair. Fortunately, right now, needs to do a lot of bomb jumps to get a Croc, or to check all these Croc items. Well, Rumble will have that space jump once he gets there, if he decides to go to Croc. Which, with what he has, there's really no reason not to. Unless Kip finds Rumble's gravity somewhere and Rumble just decides to bail. Or go straight down to lower Norfair and do a gravity jump. That's also very possible. Alright, so this item was just a super missile and a power bomb. Rumble now has 100 super missiles. It's 30 minutes into the race. Papa Schmo not far behind with 90. A lot of ammo in this seed, as full rando tends to do. Papa Schmo with this last bomb jump. And Croc, I believe he still has cosine missile to check, actually, but Croc not looking like he has the goods today. That high jump is pretty nice, but... well, high jump is pretty nice. I can't say he didn't have anything good. Definitely nothing required, though, although I don't know how well Papa Schmo can do high jumpless lava dive. I don't know. Forget I said anything. Croc had one good. So Papa Schmo doing this farm. This tells me he's going down to lower Norfair. Wants to have that health as full as he can get it. There's another farm up at the top of this shaft right before the save, which we will likely see Papa Schmo do as well. We do see 3 people in the Croc room at the same time, and actually, Papa Schmo not going to take the Croc save at least. He might take the above Croc save. There are 2 saves pretty close to each other, one right before Croc, one right after. And unfortunately, Croc, not that difficult of a mini-boss, so in practice, we just have 2 very close saves. And actually, we're going to see Papa Schmo potentially go to a suitless Meridia. These blocks, unfortunately, are screw attack blocks, so it's actually going to reset the room, it looks like. Oh, never mind. I say screw attack blocks, I mean bomb blocks. There are no actual screw attack blocks in this game. Unfortunately, he does not have the space jump yet. Not really sure what Papa Schmo's doing. I think he's also debating on his options as well. And there's player 2's speed at player 1's Croc, so once again, the Crocomire Powerbomb having the single good. We'll see if there's anything else for player, or in player 1's Croc. Yeah, Papa Schmo. Okay, I see. Well, Crockhead Spazer, that's kind of a good. It's an upgrade for player 1 who doesn't have that plasma beam yet. So it's not the worst thing ever. Where is Papa Schmo going? He's definitely taking the scenic route down to Gravitron. Not sure why he didn't just go across from Croc. Might have changed his mind, but even then, he made the decision to go, instead of going left to Croc, he went up and then back down to Gravitron? I'm not really sure. Papa Schmo, as I said, is not entirely confident in what he wants to do, but is in that lava dive now. Did take a flame hit, but is going to be just fine. And we do have our first runner going down into Lower Norfair. We'll see when Kev is able to get him that speed booster and that space jump. Kev, unfortunately, playing against Kip's movement, and also did a lot more checks than Kip did, who skipped a lot of the early checks that he wasn't able to do early on because no power bombs, like that Billy Mays and the Criteria power bomb. And unfortunately, that has not paid off for Kev, but has given Kip pretty substantial lead, since both of them have actually done very similar routes overall, aside from how they approached going to wreck ship from Brinstar. So we do see Papa Schmo and Rumble into Lower Norfair now. Papa Schmo doing these GT checks. That's a power bomb. The GT missile is just a super. I imagine Papa Schmo is going to reset. I believe he did a save at the top of the lava dive. And once he reloads his save, he'll get that space jump. How nice. So that will give him a very easy movement through Lower Norfair. We'll be able to just fly up worst room in the game and through pillars with that space jump and screw attack. Plenty of ammo to deal with Ridley, and has charged plasma and X-ray. So if he wants to bully me and X-ray the metal pirates, he can do that too. It's a bad strat though, don't do it. Please, I beg. Looks like Kip has also made his way to Lower Norfair. Also not going to find anything of value at that GT location. So we are still looking for these gravity suits. I didn't see where Kip found Ice Beam. So he does technically, at least, I don't know how well Kip can do double spring ball jumps. But if he can do the double spring ball jump up Mount Everest, he is technically able to get all the way through Meridia at this point. Player 2, meanwhile, can, I guess, do underwater crystal flash clips and get a crystal flash from Dragon to spark out. We're getting into really big theoreticals here, though. Basically, we're all looking for Gravity Suit. Or a couple more suitless items. We are seeing Papa Schmo actually perform admirably execution-wise against Rumble. Both going through Lower Norfair. Papa Schmo is pulling a little bit ahead, despite not having that speed booster just yet. Although speed booster doesn't exactly help a whole lot in this area. There aren't a lot of long horizontal shafts for you to build up speed. Alright, so Papa Schmo, just gonna use plasma shots on the metal pirates. Honestly, if you're just gonna use plasma shots, I'd rather you see X-ray. There we go. There's the X-ray for Papa Schmo. I hate to say it, but I'm proud. Figured out the fastest way, except he should have just used super missiles, but that's okay. Hey, Rumble's got an X-ray too. Well, only a little bit sad. But both Papa Schmo and Rumble are on their way to the Ridley fight, both having over 80 supers, with Rumble, I believe, having 105. Honestly, I can't really tell how much he has at this point. It could be 115. I'm not sure. Nope, it was 105. Or, well, 104, technically. Point is, Ridley only takes 30 supers, so they've got plenty of ammunition to deal with the space pelican. Papa Schmo, unfortunately, was only like 1 or 2 supers short of killing Ridley there, but does get the Ridley explosion now. That's where Player 1's Ice Beam was. It was at Player 1's cosine missile, so Croc having a lot more good for Player 1, as it turns out. And there's a gravity suit. That's... hopefully Kev takes that into Lower Norfair and doesn't go into Meridia. But that is really big for Kip and for Kev. Of course, they're the ones who have Ice Beam to get through Meridia anyways. So, a little bit unfortunate that it's not Player 2's gravity suit at Player 2's Ridley. Kev debating on if he wants the Spazer, decides to get it. It is worth noting that Rumble has done Fantoon, and Papa Schmo has not. The best case for Papa Schmo, I believe, is that gravity is actually at the top of Rex's ship, depending on how Papa Schmo decides to play it. We don't know if he's going to go straight into Meridia or if he wants to go up to the ship. But Player 2 does not have logical Meridia progression without that Ice Beam, without that Grapple Beam, and without the Gravity Suit to actually get out of Dragon. I believe both runners, both Papa Schmo and Rumble, are capable of doing the Grapple Escape out of Dragon. So they only really need Ice and Grapple to be in Go mode, I assume. But without those items either, you can't really say they're in a comfortable position. So I wouldn't be surprised if Papa Schmo just goes straight into Meridia and hopes he finds the items, or hopes Kev finds the items, which unfortunately, since he's doing the same thing we just saw Kip do, we know he will not find. At least not anytime soon. So we'll see how Papa Schmo decides to play it. We'll see how Rumble decides to play it. And we'll see if Kip is able to find any more items in these Lower Norfair escape to help him, help Rumble. And of course later for Kev to help Papa Schmo. Kev isn't too far behind, all things considered. He will have a pretty fast... He will hopefully have a pretty fast Lower Norfair, with every item you could want except for Screw Attack, basically. Fortunately, it looks like these LN escapes are a bust. Only got this one last item for Kip, the Three Musketeers missile. See if this is anything good. And it is not. Just any tank. So now the big decision for Papa Schmo. Will he go up to the ship, or will he go into Meridia? He could also check Waterway. That hasn't been checked for any of our Forerunners just yet. And it could be anything. Could be a gravity suit. Kip. I'm not sure where he's going. I guess he's just refilling. Just wants a little bit more health in order to have optimal movement through Meridia. I wonder if he'll turn off Ice Spacer and actually use X Factors on Batoon and Dragon. He does have basically old route items through Meridia, so he is able to have a very quick Meridia, but unfortunately we'll need to slow down a bit and check some of these items in order to try to find Rumbleman's Meridia access. Looks like Papa Schmo is going straight into Meridia. And Rumble is as well. Rumble looks like he's having a cleaner entry, although I guess without that Ice Beam, kind of have to do this Springbolt jump from the bottom as well. And unfortunately, Papa Schmo having a little bit of trouble with it. Kip, on the other hand, with that gravity suit, it's like, see you later, losers, leaving both Rumble and Papa Schmo in the dust. Is going to be, as I mentioned, full clearing Meridia, basically. Just, he is ahead of Rumble at the moment, so he's just looking for Rumble's gravity or anything else to help him in this Meridia quest. So we will see if anything interesting pops up. So far, nothing just yet. And of course, because of Kip's lead over Kev, due to less Brinstar and Criteria items checked and execution, he is going to be helping out Rumble, while Kev is technically helping out Papa Schmo, but checking items we already know will not help him. It looks like Rumble is the first to make it through Main Street. They can really only check Mama Turtle in Logic. We'll see if either of them find an item to allow them to progress further, or go for that double Springball jump, although Papa Schmo struggling a little bit with the single Springball jumps will likely not be going for that. What's interesting for Rumble is actually, if he doesn't find anything here, if it's better just to wait, or if he wants to keep exploring, because there is an argument for just waiting in Meridia for Kip to try to find him something. Likely not the correct decision, but it's not unreasonable. Unfortunately, Mama Turtle is not the answer. Skip going to be checking the sandpits, I believe. He did take that save. We'll see how he wants to do this. If he wants to check Shack Tool as well, the correct order would actually be left sandpit into right sandpit, and then going from right sandpit to Shack Tool. He's going to go in the right sandpit first, so we'll see if he wants to check Shack Tool off of this anyways, or what he decides to do. These are unfortunately just two super missiles. As you may have noticed, our runners do not exactly need any more super missiles. So we will see where Papa Schmo and Rumble are headed. Rumble actually making a very smart save here, saving under the Meridia tube. So if Kip finds his gravity while Rumble is exploring elsewhere, Rumble can just reset directly into Meridia. It's a very heads-up multi-world play. Good on Rumble for making it. And there's that gravity suit right away. Kip finding player 2's gravity and one of the grapple beams at the left sandpit. It's actually going to be Rumble's as well, and Rumble is going to turn around immediately. So you have to hope Papa Schmo makes the same play, but that does put LostVikings in a pretty commanding lead. Papa Schmo still has Fantoon to do, and he won't be getting gravity for a while since Kev is still in that Lower Norfair escape. Would take a bit of a travesty for LostVikings to lose this advantage. Kip is a little bit low, though. Honestly, unironically, I'd like to see him take the health refill before Dragon. Like, the only way he loses, and obviously he doesn't know this, but the only way he loses is if he dies, because if he dies, he gets set back really far. And he will have his gravity suit. So, that was something that Rumblemans gave him at the Behind Ridley location. But especially if he's planning on doing Shine Sparks on Dragon, just take that health refill. Don't take any unnecessary risks. Fortunately, Kip not going to do that, but we'll see how he decides to play this Dragon fight. He is going to turn off Ice Spazer, so he's going to do X Factors now. Not sure why he didn't do it on Botwoon if he's planning on doing it on Dragon, but that's okay. I'm not mad, I swear. I'm gonna do this Rain Dance setup on Dragon. Unfortunately, that was a little bit early. Health not looking great. Needs to be a little careful. He actually does not have the health to do any more Shine Sparks. Fortunately, he does have a lot of super missiles, so likely just gonna finish the fight off like this. Well, is refilling here. Yeah, he's still gonna play it safe, it looks like. So, good on Kip. Just having a safe fight. Not gonna take any risks. Rumble actually ahead of Kip now. That's kind of funny. Won't last very long because Kip does have that Ice Beam, giving him a lot easier access to the Zeb skip and faster Metroid rooms. But they are both very close to the end, actually. On their way from Meridia to Turian. Both going the GT Classic route, if you will. Also, I guess the route you would do in New Route, any percent, but they have space jumps, so they're able to do a few more strats that you aren't able to do in New Route. Kip already kind of catching up, just off of execution. Rumble will likely be entering Turian first, unless something weird happens. Yeah, pretty good. Pretty clean race by LostVikings. The only thing I can really complain about, for specifically Kip, but I guess Rumble kind of did it as well, skipping the Billy Mays, was they skipped a lot of those early item locations. And of course it didn't end up mattering because they were not anything good. I did like how WyldStallyns routed those in. But ultimately they were nothing interesting. Kip and Rumble had a very clean, routed race, were able to find the items they needed, and are only a few minutes from finishing up. They will likely be moving on in the tournament. There aren't a whole lot of teams left. So congratulations, of course, to WyldStallyns for making it this far. I believe there will be 6 teams left after this, so put WyldStallyns in 7th, 8th, or so, if I'm not mistaken. And WyldStallyns did enter as I believe, a 12 seed? 11 or 12? So, just going off of seeding, the team did overperform to get this far. So, congratulations to them, of course. They had a very clean tournament, but unfortunately, it looks like it is going to be the end here. Of course, I believe LostVikings was also an 8th seed, so technically they overperformed, making it to top 6. Once again, we're getting a little bit into technicalities. Unfortunately, Kev is not going to the sand pits. He is going straight into Batoon and Dragon, so it will be a while before he finds that gravity suit for Papa Schmo. So Papa Schmo going to be checking all of Rek's ship. We'll see him do the checks that we didn't see Rumble do earlier, for whatever that's worth. So we'll likely get... Well, I wouldn't say likely. There's still a few locations, but very possible we get full item coverage, since there's still a few items we don't know where they are. Player 1's Plasma, Player 2's Ice, Player 1's Grapple, Player 1's Screw Attack. So 4 items. Likely not all at the top of Player 2's Rek ship, but maybe some of them are. And of course, I am talking about seeding, putting a lot of weight into the single qualifier, where the seed itself was a little bit silly, so a lot of teams got affected by it differently. So maybe not the most accurate seeding, but despite LostVikings being an 8 seed, I don't think a lot of people are surprised to see Kip and Rumble reaching these later stages of the tournament. Still, both have had a very strong tournament showing. And that's the point I want to get at, more so than pure seeding discussions. That both teams have had a very strong performance in this tournament. Unfortunately, we will see one of them, likely WyldStallyns, be departing. But alas, Kip does need to finish off this Mother Brain fight. I believe he still only has 3 health in his reserves from that Dragon fight. So that's worth mentioning. Need to be careful damaging himself down, which he is. Not going to bother with stand-up. No reason to, really, with Charge Ice Wave Spacer. Without that Plasma Beam, you aren't really going to save a whole lot of time with stand-up. So if Rumble does stand-up, he will actually be back ahead of Kip, I believe. It'll be close. He has a little bit of a faster fight, entering with more ammo and having that Plasma Beam. So if he does stand-up as well, the two will be very close heading out of Mother Brain. I guess I was also talking about qualifier seeding, which is different from the seeding on the current bracket, the playoffs bracket, because of how the group stages went. LostVikings entering as an 8 seed, but we're able to beat the technical number 1 seed in Zevdi. So entering the challenge bracket right now, they are number 1. Apologies for any confusion there. How things have actually worked out have been a little silly, but that's okay. Rumble is doing the stand-up glitch. Does have that X-ray in case of emergencies. Just needs to be careful not to the John Lock, I guess. I don't know if people are still calling it John Lock. I don't know how. I haven't seen John in a minute. At least not any Super Metroid related things. So I'm commenting a Metroid 1 race recently. So shout out to the Metroid 100% relay that happened yesterday, I believe. I watched some of it. It was pretty interesting. I'm going to have a very conservative stand-up glitch. Not gonna do anything too risky. So we'll need a few more shots to finish off the fight. Fortunately, we still have not found player 2's gravity for TheWyldStallyns, and it doesn't look like Papa Schmo found anything interesting at the top of Rick's ship either, so not sure where all those items we're missing are. Likely somewhere in player 2's Meridia. But Kip is going to finish. Official time of 1:02:58. Rumble is not too far behind. Good news is, it looks like Kev is going to find Papa Schmo's gravity before the end of the race. We'll likely find that about when Rumble hits the ship, actually. There's that gravity suit. Rumble's still got a little bit, a little bit of ground to cover, if you will. But he is going to finish with an official race time of 1:03:48. And the LostVikings are going to be moving on in the Multiworld tournament. GG's to Kip and Rumblemans. We are joined by the victorious LostVikings. GG again to Kip and Rumble. How y'all feeling about that race?
I feel like it went really well, and I don't know if everybody else is aware of this. Did you know there's an item that prevents heat damage? Like, I think it's the first time I've seen it in the tournament. It
Yeah, it shows up every once in a while. We actually got to see, excuse me, the various sprite that Kip was using, so that was fun.
Yeah, it was nice to have the Ice Palace mail there for a little bit, but no, man, GG. You know, this is Rumble and I have been kind of laughing because these seeds are supposed to be 50% major minor chance, 50% full chance, and this is our fourth full in a row. And full is actually, I think that we're probably on average going to play a little bit better in major minor than we are in full. But we have been working on it. And I think we've been improving. And I thought that we actually played pretty good in this one. The only thing I was concerned about was when I full cleared wreck ship, and then Rumble had done part of it, but we didn't really find anything. Whenever I finally found Rumble's gravity, I thought, well, if they had just gone straight down and done everything except for wreck ship, they would have saved some time on us. But otherwise, I mean, I was pretty pleased. I thought we played pretty good. Yeah, I'm pretty happy with it.
And we are also joined by the TheWyldStallyns. So once again, GG to y'all. Kev and Papa Schmo knocked over my soda can, if y'all heard that.
Was that because you were doing air guitar? I hope.
Maybe not that one. But yeah, GG to y'all. How are y'all feeling about that race?
GG Kip, GG Rumble. Thanks for doing comms, Derp, and Jestro for tracking. Well, I had fun. I only had right sand pit and Shack Tool left to check, and so I full cleared my game pretty much before I found Pop's gravity. But
I didn't even need.
It was really linear for me. Yeah, go ahead, Pops.
It's just like we were looking for one of 3 items. It was grapple, ice, or gravity. Like, just give me one. I didn't need
right.
all 3.
Yeah, and gravity and grapple were both in the same pit.
Oh, great!
I don't think anybody found ice, so it was probably behind Dragon somewhere.
I found ice. My ice was in Crocky Tank.
Yeah, sorry, player 2 ice. I mean,
or maybe it was either in Crocky Tank or it was in the coastline room. I forget.
Yeah, I mean, I tried to make a play halfway through because I was done with Lower Norfair, and I was coming back out, and I didn't have anything else to check, and it was either go to Meridia or go to wreck ship. And I had spring balls, so I went and checked what I could in Meridia, hoping that gravity was there, but it just didn't pan out that way. And at that point, I was like, all right, well, that was a big chunk of wasted time, and didn't feel confident or as confident at that point. But I still feel like we played, particularly well. There wasn't any huge mistakes, not any big deaths or anything like that. So I'm pretty proud. We obviously know who we're up against, so try to make some decisions to take advantage. We were happy for the full because that gives us a little bit of extra chances to make more plays.
Definitely a better chance than a major minor for sure.
Yeah.
I don't know, I had some controller issues at the start and I wasn't playing very well, but I'm happy with my routing. It just didn't work out. And like I said, the seed was pretty linear for me. I ended up going to wreck ship first since I had pretty much everything I needed for wreck ship after I had done the early gauntlet. I'm like, I'm already here. And I don't know. I always do too many checks, but I wanted to make sure we were all set up. But thanks, Kip and Rumble, for racing. I had a really great time in this tournament.
Yeah.
We got a couple wins. We had some crazy losses. I got to show some good tech. I feel good about our participation.
Yeah, GG's, guys. We had a lot of fun today. It was fun prepping, and I'm a big fan of y'all's team name. I think y'all have one of the best team names in the tournament. We had a good time. It was, I really appreciate you guys as always being easy to schedule and work with, which was cool. It's funny, Kev. The last time that you and I raced, it was my spring break, and this is my spring break too. It started yesterday, so good timing. But yeah,
at least we can race once a year. That'll be great. Maybe
there you go. I really want to thank Derp for stepping in. It's always nice to have someone, provide commentary instead of it just being just the game sounds. And obviously, Derp's one of the best commentators we got, so I appreciate that, Derp. And I think Rumble and I are excited. first of all, there are no free wins in this tournament whatsoever. We know that for sure. In fact, if we're being honest, we both feel a little fortunate that we're even still in the tournament after what happened in our previous race. But at this point, I think this is now we've made it into the top 6, and there are some really, really monster teams that are still in the tournament. And we felt this way for the past couple races, and now it's like we don't feel like we can afford to play poorly. So we're gonna keep practicing and just see what happens, and we'll go from there.
Yeah,
Right on. Well, good luck in your future endeavors.
Thank you.
We'll be watching.
Yeah, I believe that means the LostVikings will go on to play the loser of Slow versus Zevdi. So we'll get that scheduled eventually. I promise. So, how are y'all preparing for that? I know y'all don't really prepare too specifically for an individual team, Kip and Rumble, but if there's anything specific you want to say about either of those teams?
I mean, they're both like Kip said. There's no free wins, but the teams are getting super strong. I think we're going to have a lot of really close races, really fun races to watch. Echo the sentiment to shout outs to MVP tracker Jestro, who seems to track somehow. I think he does 2 or 3 multi-world tournament games at a time or something sometimes. Super impressive. And yeah, Derp, thanks for stepping in on commentary.
Yeah.
It.
Derp, is it too early in the day to start playing my games with future opponents?
I don't think so.
Okay, well, we're not going to do anything to prep for any particular opponents. We're not really worried about them, but I guarantee you they ought to be worried about me.
Oh,
get them!
Shots fired.
I'm just playing, y'all. We're having a really good time. I'm being dead serious about this. I feel like Rumble and I have gotten a lot better as a team, but y'all, I think I've actually leveled up as a randomizer player individually, because some of the situations that Full puts you in are situations that I don't see as often in some of the other modes. So that's the stuff that I've been practicing and trying to get better at. And, whether or not any of them will show up in a race, we'll see. But I've actually, no matter if we lose our next race or win, I'm really happy with the tournament. I've had a really good time, and I feel like I've learned a lot. So it's been a real positive experience for me.
Yeah, thanks to the tournament organizers. Pops is one of the tournament organizers for putting on. I think this is the first multi-world tournament, just multi, right?
I don't know if it's the first or not. I can't really say.
I know we use the settings in Rando League, but as far as a tournament goes, I think this is the first co-op tournament.
It's the first Super Metroid co-op tournament, I believe.
Yeah.
Super Right on.
Metroid. That's awesome. It's nice to be a part of a first, and with such an old game that still has a tremendous following. It's great to be a part of some firsts here.
Absolutely.
But that's all for me. Thanks everybody. I'll look forward to watching the rest of the races, and I have to do RBO prep for a marathon run I'm doing. So
all right. Good luck, man.
That'll be my thing for the next couple weeks here. Thank you.
Yep, same here. I don't really have much else to say. Just thank yous all around to everybody, from the participants to the organizers. Yeah, I'm feeling good about all of this, man, and good luck to everybody in the future. That's it, man. I'm out.
Yeah, believe that
awesome.
will.
I'm only slightly disappointed that y'all didn't say be excellent to each other as you said. Yeah. Have a good Sunday afternoon, everybody. I will see y'all later.
Yep.
Be excellent, everyone.
I'm gonna wrap that up here. So the next multi-world tournament race will be, I believe, Monday at 2:30. So if you want to watch that, I don't remember exactly what teams are playing, but you won't want to miss it because there aren't a whole lot of teams left. So the teams that have made it this far.
That's Will Cut Grass for Rupees versus TBD. So Farfalu, Nefarious, MM2 NES Cartridge, and OK Beamer.
A lot of very strong randomizer runners, so you won't want to miss that. That's going to do it for us here today. We will see you there.